The May 15th, 2023 regular meeting of the Cinnaminson Township Committee is now called to order. Everyone please rise and join me in saluting the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Notice of this meeting was published in Burns County Times and the Courier Post on January 6, 2023. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Horner.
Here.
Mrs. Cradwell.
Present.
Mr. Seagrass.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Kondo.
Here.
Mayor Miguel.
Here. Thank you. First off, start with committee liaison reports. Start off with Committee Member Horner with Finance and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, we do have a 2023 municipal budget presentation, so I'm going to let that stand as my report. That concludes my remarks.
Outstanding. Thank you. Committee Member Cravel, Parks and Rec and Veterans Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For Veterans Affairs, Township Committee will be hosting a Memorial Day service next Friday, May 26th at 5 p.m. in front of the Municipal Building. The service will honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice defending our country. All are invited and encouraged to attend. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. Committee Member Segrist for Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple items. The Public Works Department hosted their annual spring cleanup this past Saturday, May 13th. 128 residents participated in this year's event. Residents are reminded that the Public Works facility is open Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to noon for residents to drop off paint, tires, chemicals, and trash. A friendly reminder that lithium batteries cannot be disposed of in the trash. For additional information pertaining to Public Works Department programs and services, please contact 856-829-6703. One last item. PSE&G's paving contractor, South State, is currently working on road restoration on Waterford Drive, Woodhaven Drive, Foxcroft Drive, Barberry Drive, Meadowview Drive, and Berkshire Drive. Further pavement restorations are expected to continue through the fall season. For additional information or concerns pertaining to this project, please call 833-661-6400. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. Deputy Mayor Konda, Administration, Health and Senior Services.
I have nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor Konda. Public safety is mine. I'm not going to really do one because we're going to have the budget meeting. I'll bring the stats next time and have all for both months. Next, we're going to go on to resolutions. Resolution 2023-65 to authorize 2023 budget to be read by title only. Can I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-65?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-65.
Okay, can I have a second, please?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Cradwell.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Kondo.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 2023-66 is the authorized self-examination of the 2023 budget. Can I have a motion to approve Resolution 2023-66?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-66.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. I will second that. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Cradwell.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Kondo.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now for our budget public hearing. Mr. Schubiger, I believe you and Ms. Evanson have a brief presentation regarding the municipal budget for this year.
Yes, sir.
come down Waterford Drive.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor McGill, members of the Township Committee, residents, staff, professionals, welcome to our Cinnaminson Township Municipal Budget Presentation for 2023. First, I'd like to thank the Township Committee for giving me and our Chief Financial Officer, Julia Edmondson, the opportunity to share with everyone the details of the proposed municipal budget, which again calls for no tax increase to the municipal tax levy. A special thanks to a few people too this year: Economic Development Coordinator Michael Minton, our Police Chief Richard Calabrese, Public Works Superintendent Kevin Gaunt, and Township Engineer Joe Barbadoro of Remington and Vernick. They all contributed a number of slides, pictures, photos that I'm going to be sharing tonight, and some information, valuable input that we incorporated into this presentation this year. So thank you, guys. Okay, so whoever has been to this presentation the past few years, I know some of this would be a little bit redundant, but I think it's important to go through some things for a second and third time. A municipal budget is certainly about funding, and Ms. Edmondson will share some of those good numbers with you soon, but it also represents the backbone of our planning. Although each municipal budget is adopted annually, the process is a year-round effort which truly never begins or ends. And as you will see up here on this slide, starting in December, about 1 o'clock on your video monitor, the department heads submit their department requests. That's December of last year. We are adopting in May of the following year. In January and February, myself and more importantly our Chief Financial Officer collaborate on developing what you are about, hopefully, to adopt here tonight. And that's based upon year-end numbers from the previous year, anticipated revenues, and the wish lists of our department heads. And I can tell you they don't get everything that they want, but we do our best. March and April is when our Finance Committee reviews the draft document, and this year it is Deputy Mayor Conda and Committee Member Horner who serve as on the Finance Committee with myself and with Ms. Edmondson. We introduce the budget in April, and then that brings us here to tonight, to May, for the Township Committee to consider adoption. Once this is done tonight, you might think our work is done, and it is a lot of work getting this to the committee and before the residents, but the real work only begins. And as our department heads and staff who are here, they know that because our administrative team holds them accountable. We continually work with our department heads throughout the year to get to the end of the year in a good financial position for the township, and we've been able to do that. But I got to say, the true leader of this whole effort is standing behind me, our CFO, who really holds everybody accountable, and everybody who works for the township knows they got to go through Julia to get anything done that involves money, and that's the way it ought to be. So that's our budget process. Where does your tax dollar go? The township is responsible for collecting property taxes from all the public taxing entities, or for all the public taxing entities, and then dispersing that money back to those entities, which include the school, the county, our municipal open space fund, and the fire district. If property taxes are not paid, the township is still required to fund those entities based upon their tax levy. What that creates is a reserve for uncollected taxes, which must be appropriated in a municipal budget and is appropriated in our budget every year. Ms. Edmondson will get into that a little bit greater detail in a few minutes. That amount is based upon the township's collection rate, which I'm happy to report is again over 99%, which is truly amazing. Our office there does a tremendous job. They are sort of the unsung heroes. They get a lot of screaming and yelling at times, but without them, we wouldn't be able to put forth this budget and have a balanced budget like we do have for the past 7 years. And just so you have an understanding of the percentage of what that amount is of the budget, the reserve, the RUT, is approximately 5% of appropriations in this budget. No other public entity has to budget for that. We do. So now to get into some of the details of those good numbers, I want to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Julie Edmondson. Thank you.
The tax rate breakdown for 2023, as you can see, as Eric said, the township collects all the taxes, but we have to disperse them to the other entities. So your tax bill is made up of the school district portion, which is 63%, the county at 13%, fire district at 6%, municipal open space at 1%, and the municipal portion is just 17%. So if we were to eliminate all municipal services, you would still only save 17% of your bill. Some of the 2023 budget highlights: the 2023 budget has no increase to the local purpose tax. It's maintaining all services. It maintains a stable fund balance, and we are under the state tax levy cap by $580,000. The 2023 revenue sources, as you can see, the tax revenue for this budget is less than 50%. 10% is state aid, 24% is local revenue, which includes over $2 million in grants, and 17% is fund balance. The impact of the proposed 2023 tax levy on the average residential taxpayer: the value of the average Cinnaminson home is $236,600. In 2022, the municipal tax rate was 0.616, and the cost was $1,452. And in 2023, the tax rate will still be 0.616, and the cost for local services will still be $1,452. Some of the 2023 line item appropriations, as you can see, public safety is at 20%, public works is 16%. As Eric was speaking about, the tax reserve is at 5%, which is over $1 million. How is your $1,452 spent? As you can see, the average person spends less than $300 on public safety, $225 on public works, and only $42.27 on all your parks and recreation activities. As you can see in Cinnaminson, you get a lot for your money. Now Eric's going to discuss capital.
Thank you, Julia. So those are great numbers. It means that we are being fiscally responsible. It means this township committee is holding us accountable. Those are good things. But what are we actually doing? That's what the community needs to know. In order to achieve that, it takes a lot of good people. It takes partnerships, and it takes progress. That'll be a recurring theme tonight, so get ready. So just a quick review of some of our services in the township that we provide. Thousands of police calls, a commitment to community policing and programs, ball field upgrades, playground improvements, park amenities, snow removal, leaf and brush collection, plan review, road improvements, business assistance, property maintenance, construction inspections, licensing, and those are just a few that I wanted to highlight, what goes on here every day within our buildings, within the township. This year, the capital improvement program includes park enhancements, safety equipment, stormwater management improvements, road resurfacing, equipment and vehicles, and building upgrades. This capital program is a result of continual review of township infrastructure in consultation with our department heads, our professionals, and under the guidance of the Township Committee. Status quo or progress? You know which one we're going for by that little graphic, I think. Just doing things the way we have always done them is in fact the status quo. Continually examining programs and services and finding different ways to improve is real progress. This Township Committee is committed to action and real progress. Just in the past year alone, the Township has secured nearly $3 million in grant funding from a variety of sources for road and infrastructure repairs, parks and recreation upgrades, and community policing initiatives. The status quo is indeed unacceptable. And sort of a bit of an aside, but I think it's apropos here, when I get the opportunity to talk to college students or teach college students, first day of class, my first question is, what do you guys think the difference between high school and college is? So as you can imagine, I get a variety of answers. And then I tell them the answer as it pertains to how their learning is going to change. In high school, it's who, what, when, where, and I kind of equate that to the status quo. That's just kind of understanding the basic information. But college learning is about the how and the why. And that's the difference that you're going to experience in my class, or you would, and that's the difference in how we operate here in Cinnaminson, because that's what progress is. We don't just settle for who, what, when, and where. We're continually asking those questions of how and why. People, partnerships, and progress. There you go again. So I'm going to share a number of photos, which I think really will assist us with understanding some of the things that we've been able to achieve. Now, this is our new recycling center down in Public Works. And I have to give Kevin Gaunt, our superintendent of Public Works, a lot of credit. He started here only a few years ago. He's really turned around a number of things for the township. One of them is the look of our Public Works facility, the operations pride in the DPW yard, as they refer to it as. I call it the facility. This is our recycling center, which has made it a lot easier for residents to be able to drop off recycling. It's really increased our recycling, which does also work back towards our financial responsibility, because we're able to secure some grant funds based upon the amount of recycling we take in. So that's the recycling center. Drainage improvements. This is just one example, but working with Public Works and working with our township engineer, and again, one of our greatest partners is our residents. Listening to our residents, working with our residents, identifying issues. We've made a tremendous amount of drainage improvements over the past few years in Cinnaminson, God bless you. And this is just one example. Union Landing Road reconstruction. This is a horrible picture. It's okay, you can say it. But I put it in here for a reason. It's horrible because of not the actual story behind the picture, but it's hard to see. There are several people in this room who know where this picture comes from, I think. And there was a meeting that I attended when it was not dark, it was in the light, that you might also remember. I think this is an example of really one of my themes for tonight in presenting this to you is the partnerships between or among residents, businesses, employees, contractors, and the Township Committee. Union Landing Road is a major thoroughfare in our town, as we all know. Last summer, it was reconstructed completely, a huge phase of that. We were getting some very concerned businesses and residents about that road. Some of you may recall that. We got a lot of calls. And again, our staff and professionals did a tremendous job of trying to work us through this. But they wanted to do the biggest part of the project. I'm not going to use the technical terms, guys. But the biggest part of the project that was going to cause the most potential issues for our residents and businesses during the day. And we went out there, we worked with the contractor, we worked with the businesses and residents, and we changed that. And it was still, while a major improvement for the town, not the most welcome to work at the time in the summer. But we did that because we want to work with our residents and businesses and try to accommodate them when we can. I think it had a big impact on everyone who lives and works down there, and ultimately the project was a great success. Summer concert series. This is my Deputy Mayor Conda photo. He's looking at this and laughing. I can't even see him. Now I do. He's laughing. Why do I have a summer concert series in the budget? Well, one, they're important to us. I'll get back to it in a few minutes. This is not our summer concert series at the band stage in the corner of Wood Park, if you have noticed. This is the day that I got a call about 4 o'clock from Deputy Mayor Conda. Mr. Conda, you remember that call?
I do.
The call was, Eric, I got good news and bad news. Good news is we're going to have a great concert tonight. The band's ready. The bad news is they set up at the wrong place. This really happened. I don't move that fast anymore. I moved fast out of the office that day. But the good story about this is we worked with Footlighters. That is part of an area that is both Footlighters and the township. And we share that land for a lot of our events. It's a partnership, a cooperation we have with them. And I did not have the heart to tell that, what's his position title, Mr. Conda? The band, the sound technician. The sound technician. I did not have the heart to tell him after he sweat in 90-degree weather for 2 hours setting up for, I believe it was the 52nd Street Band. They were ready to play at the link with all the sound they had. I said, we're not going to make you move it. We're going to work this out. That's an example of working together that I think is important. Bocce. This is a very engaged group in our town. They have they give out awards. They are very serious about their Any bocce players here tonight? No. Great group. We went out there and met with them, talked with them about some improvements. We've done that, and as we speak, we are awaiting some additional lighting that's going to be installed for them for this summer, which they've requested for their courts over at Memorial Park. This is a pavilion area over at East Riverton Park. It is still a work in progress, but as you can see, the foundation has been laid literally, and we are now awaiting tables and picnic tables to make a very nice pavilion area for picnics and for just community gathering, which I think will be welcomed within our community. Business recognition. Mayor McGill is every time you go to a meeting, you will hear Mayor McGill thank our employees and our businesses and our residents. It's important to us. So we started recognizing businesses. We recognized Big Alati last year with a business award nominated by a member of the community, not by the Township Committee. And we will continue to do that because it's important. Employees of the Year. We started acknowledging Employees of the Year a couple years ago as well, which is also important because as our committee knows, They are the backbone of how we get work done around here. So we are going to continue to do that. We also have several accomplishments and openings that I'm going to highlight. This is Jiffy Lube on Route 130. Wingstop and the shops at Cinnaminson, also on Route 130. The opening of the new Lidl grocery store, also on Route 130. The Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop, no, it's not completed. That's not just a mirage. That is what it's going to look like over at the former Triborough Motor site. The training room over on 130 near the auto wash just opened, and we did a ribbon cutting. That was just about a month ago, right? Box Park, warehousing facility. The Azalea at Cinnaminson Senior Living Community, also over here on 130. I'm going to get back to some of these, but I wanted the imagery to kind of go through some of my themes, so I appreciate your patience. Some of you have seen this before, too. We live it every day. What are our core values? What drives us? How do we get these things done as a group? What makes everything work? It's about responsibility, always owning what we do and what we don't do, and being accountable. It's about responsiveness, taking action, simply listening, and being engaged. It's about relationships, building partnerships with all of our stakeholders. That is our core. The vision and core values is based upon providing services to over 17,000 now residents in Cinnaminson and our business community. We cannot resolve all the community concerns overnight, maybe not even in a month, maybe not even in a year, depending on the issue. But our core values keep us on track to try to achieve action. And I thought last year was going to be the last year I mentioned COVID-19, but I'm going to go back to it just for a minute, okay? Because at the end of the day, well, let me backtrack here for a second. It's been over 3 years since COVID-19, the health pandemic, began. Depending on who you talk to, what you're watching on TV, some say it's over, some say it's not. Regardless, it's still impacting all of us in some way. How we get our goods and services, transportation delays, the economy, the market. We know it's still impacting us. And while it's unprecedented, the pandemic also serves as a prime example of how our core values, our strong financial position, and good public policy that we have in place, it provides us with the opportunity to face any challenge that may come our way. Under the leadership of this Township Committee, we've been able to address safety and security, health and wellness of our residents and employees somehow, while still providing all of our goods and services. Not always easy, not always smooth, and we know about delays, but somehow we're getting through it. And I think we're getting through it well. Ironically, I think the pandemic, although a very negative in a lot of ways, has helped be a catalyst for all of us to be better at what we do in some way. We're better at these things here, are good, the 3 R's of good government. It forced us to be better. So that's one thing that came out of it. Okay, I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker. You're welcome. Cinnaminson Fire District, Cinnaminson School District, the Cinnaminson Sewers Authority, the Cinnaminson branch, of the Cinnaminson, of the Burlington County Library System, the Township of Lumberton, the Township of Morristown, the Borough of Riverton, the County of Burlington, the State of New Jersey, the United States federal government. Why am I including the logos of all these other public entities in a Cinnaminson Township municipal budget presentation? I'll tell you why. Well, I forgot American Water and Public Service. I had that all teed up. Leadership does not occur in a vacuum, and neither does progress. We've heard leadership doesn't occur in a vacuum. I just made up that it doesn't progress doesn't either. The township has partnered with every one of those entities that I just flashed through up there on the presentation in some fashion. Shared services maybe, grant funding, policy development, mutual aid, and sometimes nothing formal, just input and guidance. We work together. People, partnerships, and progress. 2024 budget look ahead. I'm happy to report that it looks similar to the 2023 look ahead about a year ago. The municipal tax rate is projected to have no increase while still maintaining a stable fund balance. We're going to continue to evaluate municipal operations to reduce expenses while maintaining services. Continued economic development, which has a direct impact on our ability to maintain a stable tax rate. We're going to complete the redevelopment of the former Acme site, complete the redevelopment of the former Triborough site, the opening of Box Park, the warehousing facility. Mainline shopping center is a major goal of ours, and additional industrial zone uses. Among others, I'm highlighting some big ones. Mr. Mitten, I know you want to add some others. This is what I'm highlighting. Okay. We're going to continue to seek grant funding opportunities and continue to seek shared service opportunities. Based on this prudent fiscal management and thoughtful planning, the municipal tax rate, again, is going to remain stable as it has for the past 7 consecutive years. 7 consecutive years, the municipal tax levy has not been raised in Cinnaminson. We're going to continue to maintain a healthy fund balance. For a variety of reasons, not many municipalities are able to do what we're doing. It starts with people. We have the best people. They're not able to stabilize their respective tax rates, and those who do are often required to significantly deplete their fund balance in order to do so. In fact, other public entities might be taking handouts and additional aid and still raising their tax rates. That's not happening here. It's not the case in Cinnaminson. This team, under the leadership of the Township Committee, actively and aggressively seeks grant funding and shared service opportunities to maintain our financial position. That's how we do what we do. We don't sit back and just collect taxes. That's a role that we have. It's a way of life. But as you saw in a few slides, well, now many slides before, less than half of the revenue in this budget is the local property taxpayers. Less than half. There are no guarantees. I'm going to stand up here and tell you live and in cyberspace. We're not making guarantees, but this is what the numbers tell us. There are extraordinary events, uncontrollable factors, inflation, unfunded mandates. That's all true. But I can tell you this. The fact of the matter is that the planning of this committee and our professionals and our CFO has placed our community in an outstanding financial position for the foreseeable future. To meet that goal of high-level fiscal management, Township has a clear vision. I'm getting there, Mayor. Township has a clear vision, which is founded in those core values, which I highlighted already. But a vision without a plan is simply a dream or wishful thinking. This is not a dream, nor is it wishful thinking. Our Township Committee works through a liaison structure of local government, whereby each member is assigned certain programs and services to oversee. They take that very seriously. I want to highlight a few right now. Committee Member Cravel is the liaison to Parks and Recreation and Veterans Affairs. Ms. Cravel challenged our team to look at expanding our community events and doing a better job of honoring our veterans and military members. Ms. Cravel also recognized an increase in youth sports participation and challenged our team to provide additional spaces within our park system. The result? Summer concert series just a few years ago had 3 concerts. This year, there will be 9 free summer concerts at Wood Park. Over the past few years, our team has coordinated an annual Memorial Day service, which was reported on by Committee Member Cravel tonight, and an annual 9/11 Remembrance Service, as well as a new 9/11 memorial to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice and who continue to deal with with the aftermath of war and terrorism. And this past year, our team constructed a multi-purpose field at East Riverton Park and allocated multi-purpose field space at Ravenswood Park to accommodate additional youth sports participants. Check that box. Committee member Segrest is a liaison to Public Works. Mr. Segrest challenged our team to examine field lighting at Wood Park to enhance the safety of participants and patrons. He also challenged our team to improve department operations, including leaf collection, brush collection, and the Township Recycling Center, which you've seen a photo of. The result, the Township recently received bids to complete Phase 1 of a new field lighting system at Wood Park. The contract for the work is scheduled to be awarded in June. New equipment and vehicles were purchased in the past several years, and additional equipment and vehicles are in this year's capital plan, which will assist department operations. And that Township Recycling Center has been completely revamped, which has made it much easier for residents to dispose of their recycling material and has an economic and financial benefit to the township. Check that box. Committee member Horner is liaison to Economic Development and Finance. That's you. Mr. Horner challenged our team to continue to market our great community in an effort to attract quality economic development. Mr. Horner also challenged our team to remain fiscally responsible and to ensure the financial security of Cinnaminson Township for the future. The result, in just the past few years, among many projects, this team has redeveloped the former Garden State Inn site with a new Lidl grocery store, redeveloped the former Azalea Farm site with the Azalea at Cinnaminson Senior Living Community, redeveloped the former Acme site with Children of America Child Care Center and Extra Space Facility, redeveloped the former Triborough Motor site with the Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen and Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop. Also attracted several new businesses in the shops at Cinnaminson and all along the Route 130 business corridor, as well as welcoming the expansion of C-Box and the development of Box Park warehouse facility in the township's industrial zone, just to name a few. In fact, the economic development efforts of Cinnaminson Township were recently showcased at the American Planning Association's National Conference in Philadelphia. Our town was recognized nationally. Ironically, the quality economic development has a direct impact on the financial position of the township, evidenced by another no-tax increase municipal budget. I may have alluded to that before. A stable fund balance, a good debt level, an outstanding bond rating, and very good financial audits. That's all part of it. And as I said before, the economic development and the financing of our township, the budgets, they go hand in hand. So it is interesting and very apropos that Mr. Horner serves both of those roles. Deputy Mayor Conda, you're next. He's liaison to administration. And, I'm sorry.
That's him.
And senior services. Mr. Conda challenged our team to make significant upgrades to our communication platforms. He challenged our team to upgrade the technology necessary to manage our operations. He also challenged our team to provide additional programs and resources for seniors. So the result, the township now has a greater communication presence through an updated website, always a work in progress, Mr. Condon, as well as our Nixle, Facebook, GovPilot, and YouTube channel. In addition, upgrades were recently made to our Edmunds financial software, employee workstations, public safety systems, and to our meeting room and municipal court, which is a work in progress. And finally, our team has coordinated recently with the County Office on Aging for a variety of outreach services and programs for our seniors in our community. Check that box. And last but certainly not least, our mayor, liaison to public safety, the consummate team player. And this one I want to illustrate how the committee works together. I want to illustrate how they do not lead in a vacuum. I'd like to share with everyone a great example of this quality leadership. Mayor McGill and committee member Horner, Through their advocacy of public safety, community policing, commitment to quality of life, and fiscal responsibility, challenged our team to improve our ability to address ongoing quality of life concerns within our community. The result, with the assistance of $250,000 in grant funding, the dedication and commitment of our police department leadership, I'm happy to announce the creation of a new support services division within our police department. This division will supplement the efforts of our outstanding group of public safety officers with addressing a myriad of quality of life issues within our community. Creating additional partnerships among our residents, businesses, and public safety personnel. So lest anyone think that quality of life issues or advocating for residents are not within our jurisdiction or our responsibility, the actions of this administration clearly illustrate that they are at the very heart of our vision. So this is not a dream, not wishful thinking. It's action and results. That's what this Township Committee is about. This is our plan. Mayor McGill, thank you once again. Ms. Cinnaminson and I happily present to you and the Township Committee this no tax increase budget for your consideration tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Schuberger.
Thank you.
Ms. Edmondson, for a very thorough and outstanding presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. I've always said that our greatest asset is not the equipment we have, all the police cars, all the public works equipment, but our greatest asset is our employees and our people. And you two have shown that tonight. Thank you. Thanks, Jewel.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, can I have a motion to open public comment on Resolution 2023-57, the municipal budget?
Mr. Mayor, I will enthusiastically make that motion to open public hearing on Resolution 2023-57.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. I will second that. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment is now open on Resolution 2023-57 only. Please come forward, identify yourself, and give your name and address for the record.
Good evening. Jermala Shepherd, 215 Front Street, Palmyra, New Jersey, speaking on behalf of the Civic Club of Riverton, East Riverton, Palmyra. I have a question about infrastructure. Is this the time for it?
Relates to the budget. Just for the budget.
Okay, in the infrastructure, is that now including the sidewalks on Union Landing Road that were in the resolution of 2022-146, which you talked about on April 1st, that it was approved? I would like to know when it's starting. I can read the resolution if you like.
Oh, I know what resolution you're talking about, Ms.
Okay.
Shepherd. Yes, I remember.
It was for fiscal year '23,
Yes.
and when's it gonna start?
So I don't know when it's going to start. I can tell you that our township engineer, now that we've secured the funding through that program, their job now is to complete the scope, the design, and make sure that we have something to go out to bid with. That takes time. So I don't want to put a date on our engineer of exactly when it's going to be. It's a work in progress.
Okay.
But that infrastructure, that would definitely be included in an infrastructure project for sure.
Okay, now, does that $3 million in grant include any lighting on Union Landing? Remember how we were talking about the lighting that was dark in certain sections when you go up there?
I do. It does not, because PSE&G is responsible for lighting out there. So that, I mean, I kind of almost skipped over it, as a matter of fact, ironically. But that was one of the slides I had up there. We work closely with PSE&G, and we had some movement out there. We're going to continue to work with them so they can evaluate the lighting.
Okay. And the multi-purpose park in East Riverton. It does look very nice. It looks very good. And thank everybody for that. I'm still concerned about the pickleball issue. Are we going to be able to have the tennis courts and the pickleball. Has anything been decided yet? I know, it was pending, people are working on it. It was mentioned before, but there was nothing was definite yet.
We'll answer this now, or?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. At this time, the township is not going to be making any changes in the foreseeable future to the tennis courts at East Riverton Park.
Okay, will any pickleball be added?
We're making no changes, so.
Oh, no
pickle-
changes.
No changes.
Okay, I think that's all I have. Oh, I did want to thank Kevin, because he's here. He wasn't here last time, so I couldn't thank him. The sidewalks, the crosswalks were done, and they look very nice. I'm glad we got them done before the school year ended, and thanks again. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Reneola Davis, 2108 Hunter Street. I just want to, first of all, I want to thank everyone for your hard work, and I appreciate the fact that our budget has remained basically the same, and all the grants that you've gotten is great. And I just want to add to the tennis courts remaining the same. We do not want to throw out the idea of pickleball. We would like the tennis court to remain the same, and there is an area that could be expanded to also include pickleball. So I'd like to know if the budget possibly could accommodate that.
If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
To leave the tennis courts, which we are for the time being leaving the tennis court as it is, and it's fully functional. The expense of creating additional pickleball courts is significantly higher than converting a tennis court. It's something that I don't believe we have considered at this point, but it's something that we can take a look at. But, you know,
It would be great if you could, because we want it all, we need it all.
but that's something that we could look at in the future. But for right now, the tennis court stays the tennis court, and that's the way it'll be for the time being.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else come forward, can I have a motion to close public comment on resolution 2023-57?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Seegers. I'll second that. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. May I now have a motion to adopt resolution 2023-57?
Mr. Mayor, I will make a motion to adopt Resolution 2023-57.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. I will second that. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Konda.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ordinance, public hearing on ordinance 2023-2, authorizing capital improvements appropriating $2,132,500. Authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds in the aggregate principal amount up to $2,025,875. Can I have a motion to open public comment on ordinance 2023-2?
Mr. Mayor, I will make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. I'll second that. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment on ordinance 2023-2 is now open. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Bueller, anyone? Okay, see no one come forward. Can I have a motion to close? I'll make a motion to close public comment on ordinance 2023-2. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Crable. Voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Now can I have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-2?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Seegers. I'll second that. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Konda.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Ordinance 2023-3, 2023 salary ordinance. I'll make a motion to open public comment on ordinance 2020-3. Can I have a second, please?
I will second that.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays, abstentions, the ayes have it. Public comment on ordinance 2023-3 is now open. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Jamala Shepherd, 215 Front Street, Palmyra, New Jersey, speaking on behalf of the Civic Club of Riverton, East Riverton, and Palmyra. I don't fully understand what the salary ordinance is and who it affects.
Eric.
Thanks, Mayor. The salary ordinance affects all township employees. So
Is
it's
that everyone up there?
yes, not professionals, but employees of the township. So, for example,
Yourself?
myself for sure, yeah.
And
but-
anyone else up there?
So,
Of course, the mayor.
for example, our attorney is not a township employee, he's a professional, so he would be someone that's not in the salary ordinance. We do this every year because it's commensurate with the adoption of the budget. Our CFO, Ms. Edmondson, will see what the minimums and maximums for positions need to be in order to meet our obligations. It's an annual ordinance that gets adopted.
Okay, so how many people up here included besides yourself and the mayor?
The number?
All the rest of the employees.
Everyone
Okay,
except
okay, I
this gentleman here.
I can't give you an exact number.
misunderstood.
I could, but I'd have to,
Non-union employees.
Okay, thank you. I misunderstood.
sorry, that was my fault.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will have motion to close public comment on ordinance 2023-3, please. Anyone?
I'll make that motion, Mr.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Mr. Seekers. I'll second that. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays, the ayes have it. I will make a motion to approve the salary ordinance 2023-3. Can I have a second, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seeger.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor McGill.
Aye. Thank you. Ordinance 2023-4, amending, revising, and supplementing Chapter 498 of the General Code entitled Vehicles, Towing, and Storage of. I will make a motion to open public comment on ordinance 2023-4. Can I have a second, please?
I will second that.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. Voice vote, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nays, the ayes have it. Public comment on ordinance 2023-4 is now open. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Not very popular. Seeing no one, I will make a motion to close public comment on ordinance 2023-4. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Crable. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstentions, the ayes have it. I will make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-4. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Seegers. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seeger.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor McGill.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next is ordinance 2023-5, amending, revising, and supplementing the code of the Township of Cinnaminson to establish a new chapter entitled Amusement Devices. Can I have a motion to open public comment on ordinance 2023-5?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. I will second that. Voice vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Public comment on ordinance 2023-5 is now open. Please state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one come forward, can I have a motion to close public comment on ordinance 2023-5?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. I will second that. Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Can I have a motion to approve ordinance 2023-5?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2023-5.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Seegers. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seeger.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor McGill.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now on to the consent agenda. Mr. Schubiger, can you please give some detail regarding the resolutions on tonight's consent agenda, please?
Sure, Mayor. Resolution 67 authorizing the purchase of a high-density filing system for the police department. Quotes were received for this high-density filing system. Police Chief Calabrese recommends the purchase. Ms. Edmondson has determined that sufficient funding is available in the Municipal Law Enforcement Trust account for this purpose, and recommends that the governing body authorize the award of contract to Data Storage Solutions in the amount of $27,597.39. Resolution 68 is the authorizing a contract for the purchase of recycling totes. Quotes were received for these totes and reviewed by township professionals. Our public works superintendent, Kevin Gaunt, recommends the purchase. And again, Ms. Edmondson has determined that sufficient funding is available and recommends that the governing body authorize the award to Otto Environmental in the amount of $8,148. Resolution 69, authorizing the award of road striping contract to Dan Swayze. Do I have the numbers right? Am I still good with the numbers? Yes, sorry. I'm good. Sorry, Mayor. Quotes were received, actually bids were received for this service and reviewed by township professionals. After additional review by our township professionals and our council, and since traffic lines failed to execute a contract within the statutory timeframe, Ms. Edmondson recommends, with the support of our attorney's office, of course, that the governing body authorize the award of contract to Dan Swayze and Son in an amount not to exceed $75,000. Resolution 70 is the award of contract via state contract for the purchase of tires for our Public Works Department and for all of our township vehicles. Quotes were received and reviewed by our township professionals. Once again, recommend Mr. Gaunt and Ms. Edmondson recommend that the governing body award the contract to Tire Corral in the amount not to exceed $22,500. Resolution 71 is authorizing the release of a performance guarantee for Village of Cinnaminson Harbor Construction Access Road in Section 1 of the project. The next resolution is the same resolution, but for Sections 10 and 11 of that same project. And in both cases, our project engineer, Remington and Vernick, have reviewed the project, done all the inspections, and recommend that the governing release the performance guarantees. For the construction access road in Section 1, the amount is $316,046.32. For Sections 10 and 11 of that project, the performance guarantee release is in the amount of $259,348.20. Mayor, that concludes the consent agenda and the resolutions on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Schubiger. Can I have a motion to open public comment on consent agenda items only?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Seegers. Can I have a second?
I will second that.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment on the consent agenda is now open. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing none. Can I have a motion? I will make a motion to close public comment on the consent agenda. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Crable. Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. I will second that. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Crable.
Aye.
Mr. Seacrest.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor McGill.
Aye. Okay, approval of the minutes. Everybody get a chance to read the minutes for May 1st, 2023.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for May 1st, 2023, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from May 1st, 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Crable.
Aye.
Mr. Seacrest.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor McGill.
Aye.
Thank you.
Everybody a chance to look at the bill list?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the bill list. Can I have a second, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Crable.
Aye.
Mr. Seacrest.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor McGill.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Staff and professional comments. Anything from our staff tonight? Anyone?
Nothing more to
I
say?
think you heard enough out of me, Mayor.
That's okay. You can still go if you still have time.
No, thank you. Thanks.
You guys, anything from you guys down there? Nothing? Okay, thank you. We're going to now open up public comment. Can I have a motion to open public comment, please?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
I will second that. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment is now open. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Oh, I thought you were going to come up and say something.
Did too. I thought he was going to say something.
Jeez.
Good evening. Donna Prickett, 3542 Union Avenue, Pensacola, New Jersey. And going through my deceased mother's paperwork, I came across an envelope that had 3 deeds in it, a letter, and an Extension Civic Association resolution that I didn't want to throw away. When this Extension Civic Association deeded what is now known on your website as Extension Park to Cinnaminson Township, there were deed restrictions in that deed. And according to a letter that their attorney that represented them from Mount Holly wrote in the letter, the land had to be used as a playground, a park, or for recreational purposes. And if it was ever named, it was to be named in memory of the late Harry Avery of Cinnaminson Township. Otherwise, said conveyance was to be voided and the land reverted back to the Extension Civic Association. Well, that was 60 years ago, and I don't know if any of you lived in Cinnaminson or were even aware of the history of that. I don't know what the history is, but I just wanted to drop off this. My mom was the, what is it here? The secretary of the Board of Trustees of the Extension Civic Association. Now, there is a resolution in here, and it is her signature that signed it. I don't know, I know of one person in that neighborhood that's still alive today. Everybody else is gone or moved or who knows where. So I just wanted to give this to you. I don't know who Harry Avery was or why he was significant to want to name the, it's falling apart, it's 60 years old, but
Oh, that's
Thank
neat.
do it, do whatever. There's 3 old deeds in there that go back to like 1950,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Have
very
a good
much.
Thank you
evening.
very much.
Thank
Do
you.
you want to take any contact information? Do you want us to contact you at all? With
Oh, I don't know. I don't know who Harry Avery was, but it was important enough for them to put a deed restriction in there. And I know on your website, it's Extension Park. When I grew up, it was only the playground.
Sure.
And then and there used to be like a ball field. And I drove by there, it's like totally different now. And when the guys in the neighborhood got older, they made a football field. And it was the extension and the little E with the circle, so it was Extension Park. So I guess that's how it that was like the common name, but I didn't know about the deed restriction. I didn't know about this Harry person, so, you know, do with it what you will.
Thank you, Eric. We turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Eric, turn it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I'm not giving it to her.
Anyone else? All right. See-
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Bob Sinatra, 1205 Parry Avenue. I'm here to again revisit circumstances and incidents at Morgan Cemetery. We had a pretty significant incident last Wednesday, and first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Schubiger and Chief for providing an update and comments to an email that I sent last Wednesday night at 10 o'clock after the incident. between 7 and 9:15 p.m., we had in excess of 30 individuals in the cemetery, having what the chief's men were told was, quote unquote, a sunset memorial service prayer. Well, in my estimation, it's pretty much not a service prayer when you have 30 people driving around in cars in the cemetery, blowing horns, taking flash cameras, lighting. They lit over 15 paper kites into the air on fire, one of which, actually two of which landed in my neighbor's yard 2 doors down, which she had to extinguish with a hose. She couldn't be here because she's on vacation, but her name is Noreen Turner, 1107 Parry Ave. In addition, the cemetery basically has pretty much done nothing in regards to a meeting that we all had with them over a month and a half ago, other than to say that sometimes these things take time. And I have a faint suspicion that the 2 gentlemen that we met with at that time, who were not the actual owners of the cemetery, but employees, pretty much didn't have the authority to make the promises that they made to us. So, situation's growing. Things are really not getting better. And I don't know what recourse we have, or the hands of our police seem to be handled. Township group, private property. Just doesn't seem like we can figure out who is going to be accountable for the situation, but the situation is not getting any better. There were some suggestions about potentially placing some hours, restricted hours of operation where folks could come in and out, but they declined to really consider what I feel would be the need of putting gates up. I don't think anything else is going to keep these folks out, because they feel that over the course of however many years, they've become accustomed to coming and going whenever they please, whatever hour they please, whatever day, time, rain or shine. I don't know what we're going to do or can do, but at my point in this time, I just wanted to say that we have to do something, and I'm hoping that you guys will continue to help us and or work harder to figure out what we can or can't do. But something really needs to be done about it. It's just, I don't see it getting any better. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And please continue to call the police for anything that happens. We need to keep getting a record of that. Thank you.
Mike Wines, 1 Harper now. So I also was one that called, and the chief did give us a response. And the first call that came in was 2023, but the last call was 2109. So for an hour, they were still getting calls, and here we're 9 o'clock at night, and why they're not absolutely chased out, I don't know. Whether it was peaceful or not, I live 500 feet away. The ordinance on noise says that if it's 50 feet from a car, that's good enough. I'm 500 feet away, and I can hear the noise from the radio. So I don't understand how we can come up with they were being peaceful and quiet and, a service type of thing, when they're beeping their horns and blasting the radio. And I don't know if the time on here is the time, Chief, that your guys responded, because I called at 8:38, and the call has come in, I think, on this at 8:56. So I don't know if that's the time your guys have.
The dispatch received a call. It's on the email.
Okay, well, I actually called it at 38, not 56, and that's what I said to them, so I know it's my call. So I thought maybe that's the time it got relayed to you, type of thing, because we first call, and then they take the information, then they put you over to Cinnaminson Dispatch. So maybe that's why there's a delay, I don't know.
Not that big.
No. I got it on my phone, so I went after you after it was sent, I looked it up and I said, my call was at 38, not 56. So almost 20 minutes type thing. So that's all on that. The next thing I want to talk about is the do not knock. And I had sent an email to Eric and the chief on this. Berlin County came around like 3 weeks ago now and just handed leaflets, put them on the doorway. Didn't knock or anything, fine. Then 2 weeks later, they're knocking on the door with the same leaflet, and I basically was saying, why are they coming to me? I'm on the do not knock. So the answer I got back was that the county doesn't have to register that they're exempt. Well, the ordinance doesn't exempt anybody other than nonprofit with 45 days approval of this council. So there's two things. Why were they coming to my house? They should have been given a list. I don't care so much about the fees or any of that. If I'm signed up, I don't want people coming to my house. I don't want them. If I want somebody to come here, I'm going to call them, say, come over, give me an estimate or do this. So that was my two questions, and I asked Eric to have an answer for me for those. Why weren't they required? Because the ordinance doesn't exempt them. And two, why wasn't they given a do not list?
The municipalities cannot govern the governmental actions of county officials, state officials, federal officials. They're going to be exempt from those sort of municipal regulations. They don't need to apply for a peddling and soliciting license. So that's the procedure in the ordinance. Any peddlers and solicitors, they need to apply for this license, then they get the list. As a municipality, we simply can't police what they do on a governmental basis.
But we do say canvassing in here, which is political. And canvassing, I said the definition.
Public canvassing, if I'm, working for a campaign and going to that's different than a government employee coming to your house to give out free information. Those are two completely separate things.
A solicitor selling solar can come to my door and give me free information. What's the difference? Free?
They're trying to sell you something. That's the definition
not
of
everything
peddling
the
and soliciting.
county has on that flyer is free. So
I understand you're not happy with the answer, but that's the answer. We can't police the action of county employees.
Why don't I ask Mayor, may I ask a question?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Justin, excuse me, Mr. Strausser, is there anything this township committee can do to prevent a county official from going to one of our residents' doors and knocking on the door?
No.
Short answer, long answer.
So
no.
if there is something,
even though there's an ordinance, we have an ordinance.
No, the municipal ordinances cannot govern the actions of county and state officials. And there doesn't need to be an exemption in there because it's an implied exemption. Their actions supersede the municipal ordinance.
Okay, so what law from the state says that, so I can go look it up?
What law it's just simply how the government structure is.
Everything's based upon law.
I can't pull the exact statute that says that. Sure, I can pull it up and give you the exact statute that says municipalities are on the bottom rung. I can do that for you.
Okay, thank you. That was my only other thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Reneola Davis, corner of Hunter and Davis. I just want to emphasize that I would really appreciate all of you who take part in the ACES training at the Health and Wellness Fair. I think it's very important, and I think not only can it help you with your public work, but also maybe even in your own families. I think we all have like children or maybe people we encounter with mental illness, different things where the ACES training could be very valuable. And we really need your support because, as you know, we've been trying to pull this fair together in a short amount of time. It involved a lot of intensive volunteer work, including creating a logo, creating a website, and so forth. So we really need your support in this. And if there's any money in the budget for a mailing to all our Cinnaminson residents, because we're trying to continue to make this a community and not a town, not just a town, but a community. Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Davis,
Thank
just
you. Thank you
before
for all your
before
hard
you
work.
step away, that acronym, it stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences, right?
Correct.
Just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
your hard work.
And the Walla Walla study I thought was really great. So if you have a chance to read about that, it would be fabulous.
Thank you.
Mike Goins again. I also called on Sunday about noise, and the dispatch was very short, and I think Mr. Sinatra also called, and it was during the daytime, and they said because it's daytime, there's nothing they can do. And I go back to that if they're playing their radio in their car, and I'm 500 feet away, you know, but she was very short, didn't take down my name, my phone number, anything, didn't, was just, okay, thank you. So I don't know if the police actually got a call for that service or not. I would like to find that out too, because I think both of us called on Sunday about the noise.
Just so you know, dispatch does not decide what is a problem with noise and all that. That's a police job, so insist next time that they send a police officer out. Chief, could you find out if they dispatch you guys for that?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, can I have a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion to close public comment.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. Can I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment is now closed. On to committee comments. Any comments from our committee members tonight?
I think we're all going to have a
I
little
think
something.
we all have something, so where do you want to start?
Go ahead, Stephanie.
Okay, I'll start. This way I'm not repetitive. I'll keep my comments short. The resolution to introduce the 2023 municipal budget, which was on tonight's agenda, while we all collectively take pride in this budget, I want to take this opportunity to thank Julia Edmondson, our CFO, who works extremely hard on this process all year. Thank you, Julie. I'd also like to thank our administrator, Eric Schubiger, Deputy Mayor Conda, and Committeeman Horner for working so diligently on keeping a stable tax budget, as well as not decreasing our municipal services. So thank you all for your hard work.
All right, so
You're up.
I'm up next. I just want to thank Julia, Township Administrator Eric Schubiger, Lisa Passione, Tax Collector Sandra Root, all of our department heads, dedicated township employees, volunteers, professionals. Thank you all for all your efforts throughout the year. You guys are truly the A-team. We have the A-team working for us here. And you make the job of being an elected official a heck of a lot easier. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Horner.
I have nothing else to add.
Mr. Conda.
I'm with Committeeman Horner. I believe everything that should have been said has been said, but thank you all.
I would also like to echo the sentiments of my fellow committee members and thank not only Mr. Horner and Mr. Conda, but Mr. Schubiger, Ms. Edmondson, and everybody else, our township engineer and our public works and our chief and Mike Mitten, for all the work, the hard work they've done. We haven't lost any services, and you're still paying the same, and your taxes did not go up. Our portion of the taxes, and that's pretty impressive. It hasn't gone up in the past 6 years, so we try to keep it stable, and it's because of you guys. Like I said earlier, and I've said it before, it's not the amount of trucks we have, it's not the amount of police cars, it's not the amount of guns and all the equipment we have. Our biggest asset and our greatest asset is our people, our employees. And I personally want to thank everybody I appreciate it, all the hard work you do. Thank you. That's all I have. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. Can I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Better not be any nays. Voice vote, okay, we did that. Meeting is now adjourned. Our next meeting is Monday, June 5th, 2023 at 6:30 PM. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a good night.